do I fertilize my indoor plant?
Mm-hmm. How often do you?
Well, this is the best case scenario, okay? And these are for the people that like to do things on schedule, right? They mark it on their calendar. Every Sunday I water my plant, and the first of every month I'm going to fertilize my plant.
Okay, so once a month.
Once a month, yep.
With just like indoor plant fertilizer you can pick up.
Yep.
I guess it would be specific to the species specific.
I would just go as in a general sense, just an indoor plant fertilizer.
Probably a very low nitrogen level.
Yeah, nothing too high. It doesn't need it. It's not using it in crazy quantities, and actually quite often, most people I talk to about indoor plants, they just simply don't fertilize at all, ever. Right, and it's still alive. The plants are still alive, but if you want them to kind of thrive and put on new leaves and new shoots and things like that, give them a little bit of fertilizer.
So, what would be an indoor plant other than an orchid? Because that would be kind of a flowering one. Okay, we did talk about Christmas cactus.
Yep, Christmas cactus is a good.
Technically, poinsettias are not flowering. They're bracts, right?
Yeah, they're bracts, and they will flower for you if they get the right amount of light.
So you do call it a flowering when they change color.
Yeah, actually, so that's the bract, but right in the center of the bract, the little yellow dudes are the flower. But you're not really growing it for that little yellow, those little yellow.
Yeah, you want the
dotties.
Red. Yeah, or whatever.
Bromeliads. Bromeliads are a good tropical indoor flowering plant. And then that's also once a year, and it's kind of like, it's a lot like a bract where they go kind of like reds, or they go
cool
yellows or whatnot. African violets is another seasonal flowering dude.
So they're only going to flower when they're getting everything that they want, and it's the right time of year.
Yep, yeah.
So if you have one of those plants and it doesn't flower, then that's probably why.
Yeah, and it's going to flower if everything's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sometimes plants flower when they're dying. They're like, oh, this is my last ditch effort to like survive and gets the seed out there.
Yeah.
It almost seems like tropical plants are a little bit different than that, in that if everything is growing correctly and they do have enough reserve energy, then they will flower. Otherwise, they will either abort that flower, or it just won't even develop. And it just stays vegetative and just kind of keeps persisting and barely photosynthesizing enough to just barely hang on. But
sorry, that was
good question. Yeah, that's great. So fertility, once a month, first of every month. Okay. And then repotting. A lot of people are like, man, I've got this plant. I've had it for many, many years. I kind of forgot about it, but it's still alive. What do I do? If you were the schedule type person, and as far as repotting is concerned, just get your general potting mix from your nursery. They come in bags, 3.8 cubic foot bags. You just get a pot or a container that is just the next size up. You don't need to go crazy. I mean, even if it was 1 inch diameter bigger, 1 or 2 inch diameter bigger pot, perfect. And you just unpot the old one, kind of massage the roots, kind of work them a little bit, put it in that new soil, put it in the new pot, and just kind of put the new soil around. Do that once a year. That's like once a year I'm going to make my indoor plants, I'm going to give them a little something because I've neglected them for so long. Mm-hmm. These green plant children. I'm going to throw them a bone once a year. Anyway,
so like, that's really more of just to get them to keep flowering and being happy and stuff, but you don't always need to do that, right? If it's root bound, it'll just stay there. As long as the trunk's not growing, eventually, I guess, it depends on how big it is.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on the situation. I've had some plants that I have not repotted for 3 or 4 years, but they're kind of in the back of the room, not in the forefront next to the window by any means, and they're really not growing more than 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches a year. I mean, that's just really not a lot. It's a good way to just kind of revitalize your indoor plants, even if they're not doing a whole lot photosynthesizing. It's just a good way to. Now, one thing that you don't want to do is upgrade the size of pot too large, too fast. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Indoor plants do like to have their roots, their feet crowded. They like that. It's a comfortable thing for a indoor plant to have more
limited space.
Yeah, just more, just their roots just kind of snug to the pot.
Yeah, so like my ginkgo, I have a dwarf ginkgo, my prized, beautiful dwarf ginkgo.
Oh, yes.
I had kept that in its pot for 3 years. So since I had bought it, so it went from one pot to another pot. And then I decided this summer to plant it. And it kind of broke my heart a little bit because it was just so cool to have in a pot that I could like take it with me and do whatever. But when I took that sucker out, it was starting to get so tight in that. And it was I went pretty big. Like it was not a little pot. And man, it was the right move.
Yeah.
It was just getting too hot. I couldn't water as often as I should have. There's a difference between having indoor plants in pots and outdoor plants in pots.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think that's probably the more critical. Like I needed to be watering that a lot more. So it's a lot happier. But I was going through that root bound. I was right at that stage, I think, where it would start hurting. So I needed to move up.
Yeah.
I either needed to move up or plant the sucker. And I don't want to buy a new pot for like $400.
Right.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So, boom, planted it.
That was a good call.
I think so. I think it's a lot happier.
Yeah.
It took a beating from the hailstorm that we had like a week ago, but it's happy now.
Well, seeing that transition that you had it in that container outside on the front porch in relatively the same area that then you planted it.
Yeah.
For a few months, for a while actually.
Yeah.
Well, that was smart. And then now it's
because it's getting the same kind of watering schedule and it's getting the same kind of light.
Uh-huh.
But it's obviously cooler for its roots because it's not exposed around whatever.
Oh yeah.
So anyway,
that's a win-win for sure. And then just really quick, wanted to quickly mention disease, indoor plant disease, and a lot of people don't have problems with this, but if they do, just know that there's help.
What is like a disease to watch out for?
So a lot of the time you'll see on indoor plants and these tropicals, you'll see like these black dots on the leaves, these kind of round circular dots on the leaves. That's a bacterial leaf spot. It can be taken care of with a fungicide that is copper-based, and copper-based fungicide is easy to find in any nursery. Some of the oldest and organic and most natural forms of a fungicide that has been used hundreds of years. So that's a really good answer for bacterial leaf spot. The next one would be like a root rot or a crown rot. Just as it says, it's rotting because of too much
agua.
Yeah. So there may be issues with drainage holes in the pot. Check that. That also can be remedied by a fungicide that could be drenched into the soil. And if you catch it early enough, you can save your plant. Sometimes the root rot is too far gone, and it'll kill your plant. It's kind of like that rapid decline. 1 minute your plant's doing good, and the next you turn around and you're like, whoa, what just happened? Well, the plant's fighting to stay alive, and all of a sudden its roots can just turn mushy, squishy. They go black and brown, and they just completely shut all the plumbing off to the upper portion of the plant. And but like I say, if you catch it early enough, and this is where transplanting your indoor plants to another size pot, this is where you can inspect the roots, and what you're looking for is these kind of nice, fibrous, kind of white, fluffy looking roots. If you see that the roots are not present, or they're kind of like slimy, or there's a foul odor, then you may have some root rot and crown rot. Is
there a smell associated with it?
There can be, yeah, as it's breaking down.
Yeah. So it's more like a biotic kind of smell.
Yeah.
What is that? Oxygen deprived.
Yeah.
Kind of.
An anaerobic environment.
Yeah. Ooh, stinky.
So I mean, yeah, check your pot, check your container, check your drip tray, and you're just kind of checking the health of your plant. It's kind of like a doctor, does for us as we go in and get a checkup every year. You're doing the same thing for your plants. So, I mean, it can't tell you. It can't just scream out at you. Yeah, I'm sick.
Yeah, I'm dying.
Yeah, do something. Anyway, there are fungicides for that, and I just wanted to mention those two. Those are the two. Those are the two big ones that you need to kind of pay attention to and look out for. And that, my friend,
is
it.
Well, cool. Peace out, Brad.
Out.
All right, well, there you go. Successful indoor planting. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Podlings. Thank you to Brad for coming and doing this with me again. It's always a lot of fun with Brad. All right, we do have a Facebook group. We do have a Facebook business page. You can join and comment and like and subscribe and all those things. Search the Horticult. We have our webpage that you can find us. See pictures of both me and Brad, me and my lovely wife, Brad and his lovely flowers. And, yeah, there we go. So, remember, plant on, Babylon.